All right, I got it.
Okay, let's hear it.
January 28th, 2023. All right, are you ready? Hold on a minute.
Almost a year ago, and it's still that hot in your head.
Oh, maybe yeah, I remember it.
This is a good one then. Let's go for it.
Jason, I am shocked and angry by what you have done to my apartment. Is this the best you can achieve professionally? I just can't believe I placed my trust in you, and I will leave the agent's name out, to do this unseen while I'm overseas. What you have done to my apartment has nothing to do with what I hired you to do or the direction I gave you and the agent. I'm selling it because my last tenant died, and I was sick of tenants filling it up with junk like this and have to wait until they left so I could photograph it or show it to a new tenant. She left furniture like this behind, which I had to pay to throw in a dumpster before I would dare get anyone to look at it. I renovated the apartment afterward to be clean and modern and bright. And the brokerage firm did an amazing job with their virtual staging. Now you've ruined it and you made it look like a tired old loft. This is now about to affect me financially, which I will not accept. I specifically asked you to follow the virtual staging that the brokerage firm did, which looks fantastic. I also asked to see photos of the furniture in advance to avoid any kind of train wreck, which I was afraid of, but I was told to trust you and it would be fine. I said I wanted the place to be modern, light, and colorful. Instead, what you have filled the place with is faded old string rope, plastic rubber plants, and a rattan screen. It's horrible. It is beyond my worst expectations. This stuff looks like Storage Wars lockup or a backyard of a Brooklyn furniture store. My apartment has clean architectural lines, windows, angles. Why are you messing with it? I want the place to breathe with a minimal amount of neutral, clean, light furniture and colorful artwork. I know from the photos on your website that you can do what I wanted or I wouldn't have hired you. Why have you stuffed the place with this and that? Everything is tired, cheap, drab, brown. It's awful. What you've done devalues the apartment, and this is costing me money while it continues to sit empty. I would be embarrassed showing this to anyone or putting it on a listing. Where's the signature expensive furniture I was promised? Where's the color? Where's the wow factor? The furniture doesn't even fit the room. I didn't want a table in the middle of the room, and certainly not a 60s style kitchen table. The bed in the first bedroom is horrible. I haven't even seen pictures of the other bedroom or the rest of the apartment. I assume it's because the agent is embarrassed to show me after my initial reaction. The whole corner in the main room is unbalanced. The curved sofa doesn't fit the corner. It leaves dead space. Plastic plants, spindly furniture, mirror leaning against the wall. Really, this is unbelievable. You have all these rave reviews and recommendations on your website. What an absolute disappointment. I'm beyond furious about this. And the first stop, I will be speaking to the management of this brokerage firm.
So did you respond?
Oh, of course I did.
That is a lengthy email.
So here's we didn't really make any changes. We took out a few things and we like just tried to appease him with a few small things. The
Yeah,
first person in the apartment made an offer on the spot,
of
full
course.
I think it got 3 or 4 offers sold for all cash. And
Did
the
he
buyer,
apologize?
no, the buyer of the apartment bought half of the furniture because they loved it so much. And it's funny because it's a building I know very deeply well. So here is my response. Morgan, I'm sorry that you feel this way. It's quite a shame as the space looks great and well elevated. While you may find this ugly, it looks fresh and smells stunning. I have no idea what your taste preferences are, but my job as designing this apartment for sale was not to create something that suits you and your unknown to me design aesthetic. It was to connect to buyers seeking a new home. What I find most interesting about your comments you shared is that all of your tenants furnish the space with junk like this, which leads me to believe that if new people are coming to and seeking out homes in this building have a similar design aesthetic to what I installed, then I have in fact created a space well targeted to the affluent clients looking to now live there. I may not have designed a space that connects to you, but clearly I designed something that clearly directs to the targeted audience. I have gone through every single email we have exchanged since November of 2022, and unless I'm missing something, and please feel free to let me know if I am, I have no directive whatsoever from you in terms of aesthetic to replicate any virtual staging, nor rendering, nor to make it colorful. Below are the only comments you have made and shared with me over the last 10 weeks. Number one, I'm sure you will see it really doesn't need much given the design. Number two, I don't need 2,000 square feet of inventory, Jason. You will see when you get there. The place is much better suited to minimalist furniture since it's quite a striking design. All I really need are two beds, some chairs and couches, and some pieces around the place.
Very
The virtual
interesting.
image, and then yeah, it just goes into the color and all the things, and it says basically, yeah. So I also
So what
replicated the
happened after though? Like did after
so
it's
here's
sold, he
so
just
here's the
ignores this whole situation?
kind of, and so what was really good and what everyone listening should, really focus on here is I reached out to the agents and I reached out to the senior lead agent who when he sent that initial email, he went to the apartment and looked at it and he called me and he said, "Jason, I gotta tell you, I think it looks great. I think it's interesting and it's different and it works." And like he's like, "I can't think of anything I would ask to be
Mm,
changed, but I'm telling you, this person is unhinged and has been apparently very difficult this entire process." And then the agent, after this happened, said to me, "Oh, actually, he did the same thing with the contractor. He did the
mm,
same thing with this one. He stiffed this one. He didn't pay for that. He didn't do this. He complained." And so all of it, everything he said, all of his statements, the thing is, he and I have never spoken over the phone.
mm.
Everything has been over electronic communication, which means there's a paper trail. So
Yep.
he makes these statements and says, "I told you, and the fact of the matter is that I have every single piece of communication saved and I went through it. And there is nothing to back any of his claims. And the reality is, and I'd like further go into it in the list, that physically what we created does mimic the exact setup of the virtual rendering. Um, this was someone who is never happy, and you
Mm-hmm.
you can get that through reading this. And so the reality is, like, as a business owner who's dealing with the general public, you are always going to come into someone like this, and you have to understand that while he's the client, the agents are the client, right? And so how you handle the situation is going to impact your relationship with the clients. And
Mm-hmm.
so and the agent client, who are the ones that are bringing you on.
The
And that's
return client. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what's important, because the reality is there are a lot of difficult people out there. So
Mm-hmm.
if you get a difficult person and you just say, "Oh, go fuck yourself, you ass,"
Yeah, it's not going to work out so well for you.
then the agents are going to start to say, "Oh, like you don't really know how to handle a difficult." So, I basically just sort of said my piece in a very professional, like, "Hey, look, I hear what you're saying, but I also hear that while you don't like this, you're telling me this person bought this apartment well over 20 years ago. It was a different neighborhood, it was a different price point, it was a completely different building. The
Mm-hmm.
people who are buying in there now are
Are totally
not who
different.
this person is."